Welcome to Business Access TV's coverage of the annual PSOJ JMMB Economic Forum, where we'll be hearing from top financial experts and successful business owners in their field, sharing their knowledge on how to maximize growth in Jamaica. Stay tuned. I'm your host, Amita Prasad-Webb.
In the face of the undeniably heroic efforts by successive government administrations over the past 10 years to restructure our macroeconomy and our legislative framework, why hasn't the private sector manifestly and obviously not become the real engine of growth that is required to catapult the country into the hyperspace of meaningful growth that we all so earnestly desire? Is it that we're risk averse? Is it that we are traditionally hidebound? I don't have all the answers, but I'd like us to start thinking in that direction, because that it cannot be business as usual. Secondly, where are the real growth sectors within Jamaica that we need to exploit in order to release the excess capital that is currently locked into our traditional investment vehicles, earning little or nothing, and not contributing to the effective empowerment of the larger sector of our population, which has been marginalized into pursuing underground activities that yield very little taxes, generate very little social good, and feed the negative and oftentimes criminal tendencies of our under-equipped population. If we can keep these questions in mind while we absorb the information and reasoning that we'll be hearing this morning, perhaps we can travel a little further down the road towards unraveling the chains that still bind us, such as the low level of access to credit and financial intermediation. Less than 20% or 22% of Jamaicans have access to credit, just a little higher than Haiti. That is not a good situation, and we need to address our minds to breaking that chain. And also the burdensome bureaucracy and cumbersome tax structures that prohibit the entrepreneurial endeavors. And the belief that Jamaica has no indigenous factor resources that are worth investing in. That agriculture is too much of a risk because of bad weather. The belief and the unconscious prejudice against our music and our culture that compels the practitioners of these arts to take the products abroad or restrict the development of these products to the initiative of foreign entrepreneurs. And finally, the low level of interest in our exotic agricultural flavors and fragrances, our medicinal and herbal compounds, and the culture and history that is locked up in our city centers. We need to think on these things. It is my hope that today will generate not only thought, but action to change the direction of our aspirations and behaviors. On behalf of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, I welcome you to the annual Economic Forum and look forward to a robust and productive morning. Thank you.
It's a PSOJ in partnership with the JMMB for today's Economic Forum. Talk to us about your partnership.
Well, it's an excellent partnership. JMMB is a very creative, very flexible partner, and the PSOJ has benefited over the years with the association. They are a member of the PSOJ, so we welcome it. And this forum in particular is an exciting one for us because it signals a change in the paradigm of how we do business.
What would you say are the main objectives today?
Main objectives today are to speak to the whole question of Jamaica's economic resilience and independence. Now that we appear to be making progress in our debt reduction, we want to look at building a foundation that prevents us from going back into being a debt nation. So that one of the objectives of the forum today is to look at how do we promote local investment with the capital that is tied up in Jamaica, and how do we promote investment in non-traditional areas. So you'll hear the panelists speaking to that.
The Economic Forum is an annual event. Would you say it accomplishes its objectives each and every year? Is it really furthering the discussion?
Well, bear in mind that I have only been president for a year, but the reports I have been very good about the Economic Forum. And if this one is to judge by, you can see the attendance is very good, the level of participation is very good, and the excitement levels that are being generated are very high.
It is great that we are gathered here today to consider economic resilience. It means that we're concerned with the performance of the economy under a variety of circumstances. And it means that we want to ensure that under a multiplicity of possible outcomes, the Jamaican economy is likely to be such that our standards of living is maintained. I do believe, and you have heard me say before, that the primary mission of our time is to secure for Jamaica and to achieve for Jamaica economic independence, which is economic resilience under a variety of circumstances. Previous generations would have worked hard, and we benefit from their achievement of political independence. And it is our job to ensure that for this generation and for future generations, Jamaica has the means to secure for itself and for its people from our own resources under a variety of circumstances going forward. And as Minister of Finance, I am squarely focused on this objective. But it's not an easy mission. If it were an easy mission, it would have happened already. Jamaica is a small, open economy. Trade accounts for 80% of GDP. And as a result, the proverbial butterfly flapping its wings in Southeast Asia has a ripple effect on Jamaica. We have practical examples today of sanctions against Russia threatening operations of Windalco, which happens to be accounts for 25% of our bauxite and alumina earnings. We have seen where sanctions against Venezuela threaten us in the energy sector. And we have seen where commodity price movements on the account of wars and rumors of wars affect life here in Jamaica. So how do we build economic resilience in the face of this reality? How do we strive for and achieve economic independence? Well, one of the key distinctions or the things that separate developing from developed countries is the absence of strong institutions. And surely the way to build economic resilience and to achieve economic independence is to ensure that we have strong and durable, impervious institutions. And as Minister of Finance, that is exactly what I have set out to do, to catalyze the emergence of strong and independent institutions that can. For the majority of my lifetime, and Howard would like me to say for the majority of his as well, Jamaica has been in a program relationship with the IMF. Now, don't get me wrong, the IMF has always come to Jamaica's assistance in times of need, and for that we are grateful. But we cannot be proud of the fact that for the majority of our independent years, we have had to depend on the resources of the international community as represented by the IMF. And you know, the IMF doesn't emerge and we don't enter into a program relationship with the IMF when our roads are bad or when there is a problem in crime or when the pharmaceutical supplies at the hospital are in short supply. Each and every engagement we have had with the IMF over the last 55 years has come about when our reserves at the Bank of Jamaica have gone too low. And that is why reforms to strengthen our central bank are so important and are so key to the task of economic resilience and economic independence. Later this year, we'll be tabling legislation to clarify the monetary policy goals of the central bank to be focused on price stability, to improve the transparency around monetary policy decision making, and so that information will be available for businesses and for individuals as they make their own choices. The reforms will improve the accountability of the central bank, pivoting the accountability relationship away from the Minister of Finance exclusively and towards the people of Jamaica through the Parliament. It will improve the governance of the central bank and diffuse decision making, and it will provide for the independence in monetary policy decision making, as well as strengthening the balance sheet of the central bank to give it the capital base to ensure that the policies that are being pursued can be done so effectively. You see, a prerequisite of economic resilience is external sustainability. A prerequisite of economic independence is to have the assurance, for all of the assurance that Jamaica can meet its external obligations as those external obligations come due. And what are our external obligations? Well, external obligations are interest payments that you have to make overseas, whether you are a private company, an individual, or you're a government. It consists of foreign payables that have to be paid by the government and by the private sector, dividends, and other flows. And at any point in time, you can measure the liability space that we have by looking at the external obligations of the private sector and of the government. And economic resilience must rest on a foundation that external sustainability is assured. And that is the principal reason for embarking upon the modernization of the central bank that we are going to do starting in October.
We go to a break, but please stay with us. More after this.
Dodgen Global offers a CPA scholarship program to team members who join our team. A career in accountancy at Dodgen Global is a great choice and can offer you excellent job prospects. We believe that an accounting education is the greatest gift you can give yourself or anyone else. Few gifts make as significant an impact as the gift of an accountancy education with a job. It's a contribution that lasts a lifetime in the form of learning, opportunity, and success. Join our team and get the opportunity to be part of our CPA scholarship program. This scholarships awards program will be administered by the HR department of Dodgen Global. Requirements: first degree in accounting, employed at Dodgen Global, willing to pursue the CPA examination. Here's how to apply. Submit application to Staff Accountant, Dodgen Global. Email sa@dodgen.com.
Hey guys, I'm Candy and welcome to Chill Spot, Jamaica's ultimate leisure show. This season promises to reveal some of the hidden treasures of the lifestyle industry by taking you to the chill spots of some of Jamaica's most brilliant business minds, giving you a glimpse into how they choose to unwind and just pull a vibe. You won't want to miss what happens next.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV. Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Let's go straight to stage to our presenter.
It's one thing to identify problems. It's a whole other thing to actually form the teams around resolving them and having the execution capability to get things done. And I think that there's some structures that have been set up here in Jamaica that are probably better than in many other places. But I would definitely look to see how you could enhance that so you could get more meaningful results in addressing some of these barriers. Because the future of your country is based on it. And no amount of directing people to invest in one industry or one opportunity or the other is going to make the difference. No big project, bring the Chinese and do this, bring people from other countries and do that, get the private sector to invest in agriculture. No amount of this directing is going to make the difference, like freeing up all of the actors to make smart investment decisions easily and understand the rules of the game and find human capital to support their investments. That's where the emphasis and focus really needs to be paid. I think that keeping pace with this rapid change is going to require a fresh approach and a different organizational model to the organizational models and approaches that we've had in the past. I think we have to have a fresh way of thinking of how we attract, motivate, unleash, and retain people in our organizations. There's a unparalleled change that's taking place in the world today, really driven by technology and technological advances that now allow for the speed of communication to be increased and for the processing speeds of computers to take on complex calculations. The cost of storage of data has come down considerably, and all of this is coming together to create this interesting opportunity where we are more interconnected in ways that we've never ever been and never dreamt of before. And there are industries that are emerging with Uber, Airbnb, Facebook, Google, Amazon, these wonderful companies that are doing things globally at a scale and at a pace that we've never seen before. Simultaneous with that, we see that there's a lot of impact that we people are having on the planet. And all of this is coming together in this, great age of acceleration in which, we have to figure out how we respond. In fact, this rate of change has probably gotten to be so fast that our ability to adapt as humans is being significantly challenged, and we can see it in some of the disconnects with Uber moving into countries and regulation, not being able to catch up and keep up with what they want to do. While all of this is taking place on a global scale, we see that here in the Caribbean, we are still, struggling with some of the basics around corruption, around economic growth, strangled by debt, not able to invest in some of the basic things that we need to invest in. And while Jamaica, I think, is a bright spot, having come through this last IMF program and implemented with a lot of fiscal discipline, and its economic measures are trending in the right direction. What we think is that you're going to need a fresh approach to how businesses and people look to, I would say, not more than survive, look to be able to operate in this new emerging environment.
We take our final break, but don't go anywhere. We still have more when we return. Cameo takes you behind the scenes of Jamaica's exploding creative industries to give you an insider's look at how creatives get the job done.
I'm really, really picky about how we treat our customers.
As creative people, we went a little bit over the top.
Each week, we interview innovators leading the charge in their industry. The chaos of creativity meets the stricture of structure on Business Access TV's Cameo.
I started out selling out of the trunk of my car.
If everybody think the same way, everybody going in the same line.
Being an entrepreneur takes everything that you've got.
Weekends? What's weekends? We work on a weekend.
There are real opportunities everywhere you look.
But you have to have the passion.
If I do my part well, then everything is okay.
We believed in ourselves and our families believed in us.
Being convinced of this great opportunity, why we are all here doing what we're doing now.
Thanks for staying with us. If you are just tuning in, we're here at the annual PSOJ JMMB Economic Forum. Please stay tuned for more highlights.
To talk a little bit about the business environment. Whether we use doing business or the global economic competitiveness index, I mean, the trends are the same. And what we see there is that Jamaica's not doing that badly. I mean, Jamaica's on top of the Caribbean, fifth, in the Latin America region, first in the starting business, not first, but in the top 5 of starting a business, which is great. But then the question is, what does the business do after it has been registered? And this is where the rubber hits the road. And I said Jamaica's not that bad, in terms of the ranking, but when you look across the indicators, you see that there's huge variability, between the top 5 and going down to 130 among 190 economists on trading across borders. And there are, what we have been doing in other countries in Jamaica, the good thing again in Jamaica is, similar to the good setup of the Economic Growth Council, there is a Competitiveness Council, and they are working with our expert on business environment. They have already identified, what are the bottlenecks, what are the needs, what are the things that need to be done, and trust me, there are low-hanging fruits in revamping some regulations of permits, inspections, etc. There are also longer term or medium term, using all of the digital economy, the e-filing, and all sorts of digital platforms, which is longer term, requires investment. But there is a roadmap, and now, as Mr. Warner was saying, things are known, issues are identified in both disaster risk financing and mitigation, and in improving the business environment. Now the thing is, execution, and really make those things happen.
That is our biggest challenge. What we are now seeing, and I'm very happy that Dr. Clark is here, because he has really been really promoting some of the key changes that need to be made on the technocratic front. This issue of the Bank of Jamaica's independence is absolutely critical. Why is it so critical? Between 1963 and 1993, 62% of the increase in money supply in Jamaica was attributable to the Bank of Jamaica lending money to the government of Jamaica. Lending money that it does not have, because the Bank of Jamaica has no money. All right? The only money that exists in Jamaica is the money that we have in our private capacity. The reason the government has any money is because they take it from us in taxes. All right? So when the Bank of Jamaica lends money to the government, it's lending money that it has created out of thin air. That is inherently inflationary. And that is what dominated our economic instability from 1963 to 1993. After 1993, we started to have some controls on Bank of Jamaica credit to the public sector, but we didn't solve our fiscal problems, because for the 2 years between from 1993 to 2013, that 20-year period, we borrowed excessively on international capital markets. Thus that by 2013, as again our keynote speaker pointed out, we had one of the highest debt to GDP levels in the region. So we have a couple of things that we have to accomplish. We need independence of the Bank of Jamaica so it never again reverts to what it does in 63 to 93. But we also need independence on the fiscal fronts to ensure that the government doesn't borrow excessively when it doesn't have access to Bank of Jamaica resources. Again, both of those are technocratic interventions so that at the Ministry of Finance you have a technocratic team that has the capacity to understand exactly how we need to function. But then you also need the partnerships and the social capital to put the government in a position where it is not excessively borrowing because it is managing its fiscal affairs, because there's so much accountability at the level of the broader society, and all of us are recognizing that the government has to be held accountable on that front. So it's not a conceptual challenge, colleagues, it's an execution and an implementation challenge.
Another year of partnership with the PSOJ as far as JMMB is concerned. And one of the things we like about being a part of the forum is that it supports a conversation. So what you have is a room filled with some of the brightest minds in Jamaica, top executives, top academics, coming together to talk about what's best for the Jamaican economy. And so what we expect from today is no different from the years past. Obviously, things would have changed. We're going through a time of exchange rate devaluation of the Jamaican dollar, concerns about the exchange rate, concerns about inflation. Are we measuring the right things? And so we believe that what's going to happen here today is going to bring a lot of that out and really get into solution mode about what we need to do as a country to get us where we need to go.
Let's talk a little bit about JMMB. You're here today with in partnership with the PSOJ. What's next?
Well, for JMMB, we have always been an organization that has been a little bit different. As a financial services entity, we're not your typical bank or investment house. Based on the vision of our co-founders, we have always been about focusing on our clients and focusing on what's best for the community and for Jamaica. And that's what drives our decisions, it drives our strategy. And so that drove the decision to be a part of this partnership. So it's not just about, providing financial services for people and we collect a fee. Really, it is about supporting them in achieving their dreams and being a part of an ongoing process of solution development that will ultimately be to the benefit of Jamaica and everyone who lives here.
And that brings us to the end of our coverage of the annual PSOJ JMMB Economic Forum. I've been your host, Amita Prasad-Webb, and thank you for tuning in to Business Access TV, serious about business.
We go around Jamaica to visit a few of our most historical homes, each with their own little story. Our first stop, let's find out. Hey guys, I'm Candy and welcome to Chill Spot, Jamaica's ultimate leisure show. This season promises to reveal some of the hidden treasures of the lifestyle industry by taking you to the chill spots of some of Jamaica's most brilliant business minds, giving you a glimpse into how they choose to unwind and just hold a vibe. You won't want to miss what happens next. Stay tuned.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Hi there, welcome to another informative show. This is Jamaica Magazine and I'm Adrian Atkinson. On today's show, we debunk the hassle of paying taxes. Also, it's World Wildlife Day. So we're highlighting how the Black River morass is sustaining life for residents on the southern coast. Stay with us. The magazine unfolds now.
Don't make diseases spread. Wash your hands with soap and water instead. Wash them regular or use a hand sanitizer. Make sure the germs them dead. Touching your eyes or your mouth or your nose. Wash your hands before you do things like those. After you use the bathroom before preparing food, come on, wash your hand them clean.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, March 5. Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton says a COVID-19 coordinating task force will be appointed this week. A detailed response plan will also be presented for approval to the National Disaster Risk Management Council led by Prime Minister Andrew Holness. The Health Minister was making an address to the nation last evening. Dr. Tufton said government continued to strengthen the health system's readiness while collaborating on a wide cross-sector scale to minimize exposure. He is meanwhile urging Jamaicans to play their role in preserving public health.
We must therefore work together to maintain a high level of vigilance in our surveillance and response measures. It is also now more important than ever that each of us maintain a distance of at least 2 meters from persons who are coughing or sneezing, frequently perform hand hygiene by washing hands thoroughly with soap and water or using a hand sanitizer if hands are not visibly soiled, cover our mouths and noses with a tissue when coughing or sneezing and discarding it, and avoid touching our faces unnecessarily. Yes, COVID-19 is a disease that can cause death, but in the majority of cases, those affected by the virus survive.
Global data has shown that the novel coronavirus COVID-19 has spread to more than 60 countries, with more than 87,000 confirmed cases and close to 3,000 reported deaths up to March 1. There are reports of COVID-19 confirmed cases in 3 Caribbean countries, namely the Dominican Republic, St. Bart's, and St. Martin. So far, Jamaica has had no cases of COVID-19. Meanwhile, the Port Authority of Jamaica and relevant agencies are now in receipt of interim guidelines for the docking of cruise ships in light of the global outbreak of COVID-19. The Ministry of Health and Wellness says the measure was necessary to address concerns from the cruise ship industry as to Jamaica's requirements for admission to the island's ports. The guidelines indicate that any passenger or crew who have traveled within the last 14 days to any country for which a landing restriction is in place will not be allowed to disembark. Jamaica has travel restrictions in place for China, Italy, South Korea, Singapore, and Iran. The Health Ministry says the decision to allow other passengers or crew to disembark will be dependent on a review of ill persons on board. To facilitate this, the interim guidelines require cruise ships to present critical information for assessment and decision-making. These include a copy of medical logs since the start of the voyage and travel history for all persons in the medical log. Also required is a temperature log of all persons, which should include the last 24 hours prior to arrival, as well as for persons traveling from the countries with travel restrictions within the past 14 days. In other news, Prime Minister Andrew Holness is reiterating the need for countries to support sustainable and resilient transformation in the face of local, regional, and global changes in energy and climate. Mr. Holness was addressing the opening of the 4th Energy and Climate Partnership of the Americas Ministerial Meeting in Montego Bay last week. He says countries must apply the mindset of accepting change and possible disruption, as well as embracing and planning for it in all aspects of government.
And if we are agile, if we accept that there will be disruption, and we put in place the policies and the measures to adapt, to mitigate, then we can turn the uncertainty of change, the risks of disruption, into opportunities of the future.
The Prime Minister says Jamaica has taken a number of steps towards building its resilience. These include phasing in the implementation of measures for disaster risk reductions and strategic disaster finance planning. Mr. Holness also highlights that Jamaica now enjoys a mix of solar power plants, wind farms, and hydroelectricity, in addition to an increasing proportion of LNG-generated power over traditional heavy fuel.
Reducing reliance on the centralized energy grid is one of the mitigation measures that we have taken in terms of building resilience. In creating market conditions, we will start the implementation of a grant from the Green Climate Fund to support the assessment and development of the first ever Caribbean green bond on the stock market.
10,000 permanent jobs are expected to be created from the construction of the Sugarcane Bay Resort in St. Anne. Prime Minister Andrew Holness broke ground on Friday for the $1 billion facility. The multi-resort development is to add approximately 4,700 rooms to the local tourism industry and attract about 375,000 visitors to the island annually. In welcoming the investment, Prime Minister Holness stressed the need for more local products and services to be offered within the tourism industry.
We are strongly nationalists and we defend our culture and our people. And I'm saying it in the hearing of people who are investing, that the Jamaican culture is the reason why people will jump on a plane and fly several thousand miles to get here. And that must be properly treated and properly featured in our product.
Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says the investment represents a new chapter for St. Anne's tourism output to the overall economy.
St. Anne has been for us the third largest tourism destination. And much of the investment that has taken place over the last 3 years and more have focused more on the west and northwest. It's been Trelawney, St. James, and Westmoreland, Hanover, and that mix.
The resort also represents the first major investment under the country's multi-agency shovel-ready program. The program seeks to directly assist investors by obtaining development approvals, carrying out capacity studies, assessing appropriate land utilization, and installing preliminary infrastructure. Employers and employees in Western Jamaica now have access to improved services resulting from the construction of the new Industrial Dispute Tribunal IDT office. The facility was officially opened by Labour and Social Security Minister Shahini Robinson in Montego Bay recently.
It's an important step in unlocking the door for justice in relations to labour disputes in Western Jamaica. The opening of this new facility gives credence to the seriousness with which this government views as a stable industrial relations climate. We want a stable industrial climate.
She indicated that data had shown that caseloads at the Western Labour Office account for approximately 1/3 of the overall cases island-wide. And finally, Pernell Charles Jr. is the new Member of Parliament for the Clarendon South-Eastern constituency. Mr. Charles won Monday's by-election with 6,845 votes over independent candidate Derek Lambert's 738 ballots. Pernell Charles Jr. replaces Rudyard Spencer, who resigned in February. He will be sworn in at a later date. And that's it for JI's News Today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
Protect yourself from the flu virus. Visit your nearest health center or doctor to get the flu vaccine. Cover your mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water or by using an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid the spread of germs by not touching your eyes, mouth, or nose. And be sure to regularly disinfect surfaces and objects that are used often. Remember, your health is your responsibility.
Up next, a roundup of activities by Prime Minister Andrew Holness during the past week.
Prime Minister breaks ground for newest St. Anne Hotel, fetes reggae industry players, and
if you are in farming, we want to associate you with profit. You must profit from your enterprise and your industry and your effort and the sweat that you put in.
You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Vanessa Silvera. For most of last week, the Prime Minister was in Western Jamaica on government business. On Thursday, he opened the 4th Energy and Climate Partnership of the Americas Ministerial Meeting in Montego Bay, St. James. At the 2-day conference, he urged participants to adapt to local, regional and global changes in the way resources are utilized. Speaking specifically to the energy sector, Mr. Holness said sustained action was needed to achieve a resilient and high quality of life for citizens.
Meeting the resiliency challenge requires a mindset that expects and even embrace disruption. In this way, we are therefore better able to convert risks into opportunities.
On Friday, the Prime Minister hopped over to Landover, St. Anne to break ground for a $1 billion multi-resort development. Dubbed Sugarcane Bay, Jamaica, the 226-acre property will add 4,700 new hotel rooms to the sector.
You can be certain that whatever you invest here will not be at the mercy of whimsical tax policy or other forms of regulations that could deplete or ruin your business. That is not the case in Jamaica. When you invest, your investment is safe and certain.
Charisma Hotels and Resorts will be carrying out the project, which is expected to create 10,000 new permanent jobs while bringing 375,000 visitors to our shores annually. Earlier in the week, on Ash Wednesday, the Prime Minister was in Trelawney for the 65th Hague Agricultural and Industrial Show. He urged farmers to take a more business-driven approach to the sector. He encouraged the farmers to address the impacts of climate change on the sector and integrate technology into their processes. Mr. Holness reasoned that increasing linkages with other sectors such as tourism and industry would modernize the agricultural landscape.
Agriculture is literally the base of our economy. And if agriculture doesn't grow, you can be very certain that you will not have strong growth or any growth at all in the economy.
Prime Minister Holness also urged farmers and investors to take advantage of former sugarcane lands, which are now ripe for planting alternative crops. That was the Prime Minister closing out Reggae Month in February with a reception at Jamaica House. And on February 24, the Prime Minister participated in a floral tribute in honor of national hero Sir Alexander Bustamante. The day marked the 136th anniversary of Sir Alexander's birth. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us next time for more of the news stories coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.
World Wildlife Day is an opportunity to celebrate the many beautiful and varied forms of fauna and flora on Earth. It is also a day to raise awareness of the multitude of benefits we get from preserving them. Jamaica, the land of wood and water, has an abundance of wild animal and plant species that make up a rich biodiversity, sustaining life for us all. Next, we learn more about one of these ecosystems.
The Black River Morass is actually the largest wetland area in Jamaica. The upper morass was used for planting rice some years ago. That has ceased, and as a result, we have lost that area. But the lower morass is still here, and it provides not just a safari boat tour, but shrimping, fishing, and there's a lot of bird life still in the lower morass. It has been declared a wetland of international importance, a Ramsar site.
The Black River Morass is home to hundreds of crocodiles, vegetation, and other aquatic animals. Through guided tours offered along the river, you can glide upstream to learn more about the wetlands and all its inhabitants.
Welcome on board the Safari Diva and welcome to the Black River Safari. My name is Roger and I'll be your captain and also your tour guide. Our trip will take us approximately 4 kilometers upstream, during which I'll show you some birds, wetland vegetation, and some of our very friendly crocodiles. Presently, we're on the Black River, and this is Jamaica's longest navigable river. It is 44 miles long, about 70 kilometers. Well, surrounding us, we have over 21,000 acres of swamp, and this is the largest wetlands in the Caribbean. It is also home for over 65 different species of birds. 17 years ago, it was estimated there was a little bit over 100 crocodiles living within the area. And since then, their number have increased as they are on the endangered species list. They were once hunted for their skin to make a nice shoes or a good handbag. But they are protected. No hunting of crocodiles in Jamaica. Well, they are part of our heritage. They're on our coat of arms with the crocodiles at the top, Indians at the side.
Unlike what we may believe in Jamaica, our crocodile here, Crocodilus acutus, is one of the most docile of the crocodilian species. The thing about it is that they help to cull the fish population, the animals, the fish that are diseased or the fish that are dead, they will eat them and so on. So that it's well worth having those crocodiles here within our wetland areas.
These birds you are looking at, they are called egret, commonly known as galling. The reason for the birds to nest in this location, behind us, this is our local fish market. So once those small boat comes from sea, they'll have some food to get. In the river, we can catch big fish like tarpon. Those can get up to 200 pounds. And snook, which is a very good eating fish, can get up to 50 pounds. And the African perch, mullet, snapper, several different types. It's very good for fishing. So by the shallow edge of the river, it is also the main habitat for our freshwater shrimp. This little device I have here, this is called a shrimp trap. It is made from the bamboo plant. We'll use for bait roasted coconut, oranges, or even a piece of chicken. Now once the shrimp goes in, it's difficult for them to go out. The conical shape helps to keep them in. So we'll just hold it and twist it. It opens up so we can shake them out. It's actually very simple, but it is effective. The design came from West Africa over 200 years ago, and it is still used today. The vegetation or trees, they are called mangrove, which we have two types of mangroves tree, white and red. White mangrove, small leaves, and they are brighter in color. Red mangrove have much bigger leaves and also have those aerial root that goes into the water. It takes up all the minerals and nutrients for the tree. This section of the river we're entering, we call here Mangrove Avenue, as it forms a canopy similar to our Bamboo Avenue. These are all red mangrove trees, the ones that have the roots going into the water. In the early 1900s, the bark or skin of red mangrove was used for making a type of dye which we call tannin.
Did you know that the water in the Black River is actually clear? The river got its name due to the dark shade created by the presence of peat soil on the riverbed.
Peat soil, which is at the bed of the river, that is giving off the dark reflection. It also have its advantage and its disadvantage. The advantage, whenever time we have heavy rainfall or during hurricane, the soil, it acts as a sponge which absorbs the excess water. So we have no flooding activity within the area. However, when the water level gets too low, the peat soil, it gives off the methane gas, and with the help of sunlight it will ignite.
There are many different types of wetlands. In Jamaica, the most common wetlands are coastal mangroves, morasses, lakes, and ponds. For more information on the Black River Morass and all the other wetland areas in Jamaica, visit the National Environment and Planning Agency's website at www.nepa.gov.jm.
The Ministry of Labour and Social Security is reminding individuals who use NIS stamp cards to make their contributions that the minimum amount has been increased from $150 to $200 per week as of January 2020. The National Insurance Scheme, NIS, is a compulsory contributory funded social security scheme that covers all employed persons. NIS, always working for you.
Some persons are daunted by March. Why? It's tax season. Having to join lines at the tax office to ensure that annual payments are made can be taxing. But the Tax Administration Jamaica is working hard to serve clients better. Watch this.
Tax season simply is the time when persons with other sources of income, employed persons with other sources of income, partnerships, companies, etc. are required to file their annual income tax returns for 2019 and to file their estimated returns for 2020. What is particularly different about tax season this year is that whereas our income tax due date is usually March 15th, because the 15th falls on the weekend, persons are expected to file these returns on Monday, the following Monday, which is March 16. Part of tax season is that Tax Administration Jamaica ramps up its public education activities, its tax support activities to help persons to meet their obligation. One of the major things that we have happening, and we have this every year, is our special taxpayer assistance program. Now, these are programs that many of our taxpayer education teams go out across the island to support persons who will be filing their income tax returns. What's a particular focus for us here in TAJ is that we're helping persons to register, to file and pay online. We will be helping them to file their returns. One of the things in particular that TAJ has done to augment this kind of support is to place e-filing stations or e-spots throughout our tax offices. So if persons don't necessarily have the capacity where they are, or they would like to get support while filing online, then they may visit any of our 16 locations that have these computer banks for persons to file their returns online. Once persons actually get onto our website, which is jamaicatax.gov.jm, we actually have what is known as a tax season hub. Now you may ask what is so special or what happens in the tax season hub. So it simply is a one-stop section for persons who are interested in tax season or who will actually be filing returns to get all the information they need. So we're talking about our news releases, we're talking about the schedule for the Special Taxpayer Assistance Program, we're talking about persons who may need to look at the forms, download the forms to file and pay their fair share. So they may visit the hub to actually also get information about these 16 locations. As well, it is important for persons to know that we have our very professional customer care agents where they can call into our customer care line at 888-829-4357. Our customer care agents will be able to help them to understand what some persons probably see as the maze and the sea of tax season. Of particular note as well, this tax season, Tax Administration Jamaica continues to broaden its social media footprint. So we are heavily invested in social media, and one of the things that we do in terms of pushing out that information is to reach out to persons through our social media handles on Twitter, which is @JamaicaTax, on Instagram, which is Jamaica Tax Online, on Facebook, which is Tax Administration Jamaica, and on YouTube, which is Tax Administration Jamaica as well. We are here to help persons, and this is why we are pulling out all the stops to ensure that no one is left behind, and we assist as many persons as we can. Anyone who believes that they may be lost, they need some kind of assistance, they can either call us or just visit your nearest tax office. We have taxpayer service personnel on hand to provide you with that kind of support. And in particular, the offices, the locations that house these e-filing stations, they will be able to use our computers as well as to have support on tap to get that kind of support. And because we continue to change the way we do business, our online filing infrastructure, we continue to ensure that it stands up to the stress test to ensure that come what we call tax day, persons will be able to file and pay their fair share without any hassles at all. We encourage persons to file early because there is usually the tax day rush, and we want persons to stay ahead of that. Filing online, it's convenient, it's safe, it's fast, and it's really secure. So we encourage persons to file and pay the easy way.
We've come to the end of the show, but do catch us again tomorrow right here on this station. Another half hour of informative features awaits you. Until then, please send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm. You may also connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
Cash flow and budgeting analysis. A business can be profitable and still run into trouble due to cash flow issues. We can forecast and evaluate your company's financial condition, estimate financing requirements, and track cash flow sources and uses. For more information and to discuss your requirements with one of our experts, please contact us today. Email info@dodgen.global. Website https://dodgen.global.
Creating change. Building a future. Caring hands. Giving back. Touching hearts and shaping lives. Impacting our world for the better.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious.
Serious.
Serious about business.
Business Access TV welcomes you to the Courtly Hotel in New Kingston, Jamaica for the Technological Solutions Limited cocktail reception, as well as the opening of their SQF training. I am Tamar McHale. Stay tuned for the highlights.
A very, very warm welcome to you all. I am Earl Patrick. I'm the acting board chairman of Technological Solutions Limited. And my task this evening is to guide you through this evening's proceedings. We have representatives in our audience from various countries in the region: Barbados, Suriname, Trinidad, United States, can't think of any other, but what it does, it represents who we are. A company that transcends Jamaica and tries to spread its wings throughout the region, selling quality and selling good standards for consumers around the region and the world. Before we go any further, I think what we are doing here this week is a absolutely fantastic thing with the seminar, the series of seminars we're running, to ensure that companies in the region, including Jamaica, get themselves into world quality, world standards, to ensure we can meet the stringent requirements of consumers around the world for Jamaican products.
Thank you all for coming to this important event. We're also celebrating, Global Standards Day, and what better way to do that at the start of a training session that we're doing this week on a global standard. So in this case, a global standard for food safety called SQF. And as a senior technical representative to them, that's my job this week. And I see a number of my participants here today. I told them they couldn't come here and, boo-hoo me and tell me that I'm not a lousy trainer or anything like that. So you can't do that. Not yet. Not until at the end, because remember, I still have to mark your exams and stuff. So it's okay. I still have that over you. No, we're good. We're good. So what we're doing this week is training people on the SQF code of food safety. What it's all about in terms of both understanding and implementing it, but most important, what it's like to learn to audit it, to become an auditor towards that. Because what SQF is a what we call a certified program owner. We are a standards owner. We don't certify, but we develop the standards which are benchmarked against the Global Food Safety Initiative, so that becomes the global part. So that's, from the food safety perspective, that's a very distinct and small world, but one that subscribes to accredited independent third-party audits that allow for the certification of products right from the gate to the plate, the farm to the fork, as they say. That allows for then buyers worldwide to be able to buy and move product globally with the assurance that from a food safety perspective, those products are safe and that they meet regulation in both the country of origin and the country of destination. And that's a very important part in terms of trade. And so SQF is very pleased to have entered into a licensing agreement with TSL, relatively new. TSL will be the first Caribbean-based licensed training center for SQF. We have over 32 that are based around the world. We are the #1 food safety management system certification standard in North America. And as such, we really see that the Caribbean and other types of markets that TSL serves as an extension of that, and obviously important to ensure that the SQF brand, the auditors, the certification bodies that are providing the audit, because we don't provide the certification. That'll be TSL's job. What we're doing this week is making sure that there is a resource pool of auditors. This is the first step for them for becoming registered SQF auditors. It's not easy. They have to have years of experience, audit experience, to be able to audit against that code, so that when the certification is given, now that certification and certificate, it's a public entity. It's on the SQF website. It'll be a certificate with the SQF brand, with the TSL brand, with the brand of the accreditation body that will be looking on oversight in TSL. And that provides assurance in the marketplace to the brand owners globally that those sites have earned it, and that on an annual basis they will have to maintain it and earn that certificate to keep that certificate, that TSL will be in charge of distributing and also pulling it and suspending, withdrawing it if those sites don't maintain it. So there's a lot of credibility around that, around accredited third-party audits that SQF participates in, which does support obviously the Global Standards Day and the use of global standards and trade and what that can do with the assurances that food safety. As consumers, we all expect that. We go to the marketplace, we go to the restaurant, we go to the retail when we're buying that product, whether it's here in the Caribbean and Jamaica or it's in North America, and it's product coming from Jamaica, we're expecting that to be safe. And so this training is about learning how to audit. I'm not here to teach them about HACCP or food safety. They're supposed to already know that, right? But I am teaching them how to interpret that, how to look for those risks and hazards, how to write a audit report that then can be shared with their buyers, and a certificate that's earned and maintained, and ensuring that for that site and what they make, they understand food safety, they understand the risks and hazards, they're managing it. It doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, because food safety is never 100%, but they're staying up to date, they're staying current, they're learning the technologies that change, the auditors are learning that and applying that and challenge those sites to say, show me that you know what the SQF code and the good food safety practices that are expected globally are being done here, so that your buyers can do that too. So I'm very pleased to be here to continue to build that resource pool in the Caribbean, in North America, so that they can be available to TSL and their certification body to then provide that service in the Caribbean and beyond, and ensure that those products that are being exported and consumed locally are safe products. So thank you very much for your time, and pleasure to be here for the week.
So I was looking at your profile earlier, and you have quite a wealth of experience. I understand over 30 years in the industry. Tell us about your experience. I understood that you started out at Kellogg's.
I did, yeah. So, graduating in chemistry, and then got a job right directly in the food business. I don't think that was my intent, but it's where I landed. And so, learning a lot with Kellogg's on food safety and quality solutions. So, transitioned from there primarily into the service area of that, and primarily in the auditing, consulting, and training element. Again, servicing food and beverage industry, primarily in Canada at the time, but then going into the U.S. and down into the Caribbean, where I had first met Dr. Gordon with TSL.
Okay, great. So you are here in Jamaica, as you mentioned, in terms of what you're doing. What are some of the courses that you'll be offering?
Yeah, primarily as the SQF representative, we offer the SQF lead auditor training, and so that creates the opportunity and the resources for auditors in the region that can audit against SQF and be possibly employed or contracted by Dr. Gordon through his organization, TSL Certification Services, which is now the first Caribbean-based licensed certification body for SQF.
How critical is it for companies in the manufacturing sector to be certified and have the relevant, training?
Well, it's so for the sites themselves, and at the training program, we have both individuals that are looking to be lead auditors and SQF auditors, but we also have a lot from industry that are learning about the SQF code and the importance of implementing, and more importantly, the importance of controlling their food safety aspects, because it can be, if not done properly, a big risk to their businesses, and it is sometimes a barrier for entry into other markets and foreign markets, and the U.S. being a large market for that, the SQF certification does create an opportunity for getting into those new markets.
I'm now with Lanelle Black, and she is the Quality Assurance Manager for the East Caribbean Group of Companies. Tell us a bit about your company, Ms. Black.
Well, our company is located in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We manufacture flour, feeds, rice, carbonated soft drink under the brand Juicy. We have one energy drink by the name of Village Ram, and also one bottled water under the brand of Island Sips.
Interesting name, Village Ram. How did you come up with that name?
Well, it's not me. I did not come up with the name, but Because of its content, I believe. It has yohimbe extract, yohimbe, honey, goatweed, and some other aphrodisiac, which is known to help with, impotence and other things like that.
I'm sure that's a bestseller.
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay, so tell us how Technological Solutions Limited has helped your company.
Well, we are pursuing certification in SQF, intermediate level at this moment, and we also want to implement our HACCP principles. So we have engaged the service of Dr. Gordon, and he has been helping us along the way to gain our certification. We are about the middle of the process, so very soon we will be complete and be audited, and hopefully we'll be certified.
Okay, and how has the training so far been for you?
The training is very good. We don't have that training at home because, as Dr. God indicated, it's the first in the Caribbean. Food safety is not really a big thing at home either. There would be a few companies who have it, the certification, but not as much as we would expect. So it is very good, to be honest, very educational. The knowledge we gain here definitely would go a far way back home, because I don't think we have any SQF auditors on the island as such. So it would be a great asset to our company and to the country as a whole.
M&A Strategy and Advisory. Are you planning for a merger or acquisition? M&A transaction. The decision to embark upon an M&A transaction is not one to be taken lightly. Whether pursuing a merger or acquisition, or considering a disposal or divestiture, the complexities of an M&A transaction require careful planning and execution. Clients can depend on our specialist teams to lead or support transactions requiring specific expertise on issues including business modeling, fast-track M&A, economic consulting, and government public sector advice. With deep experience, knowledge, and tools, Dodge & Global can meet stakeholder targets and expectations. Dodge & Global consulting teams can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dodgen.global. Website https://dodgen.global.
I'm Jean Laurichin, and I'm the Executive Director of ProCom, ProDev, and CCRP. BATV had heard about our outreach arm, which is a Caribbean community of retired persons. I think BATV is having a very positive impact. And as a result of that excellent feature, we got more members. So clearly people are watching BATV. I always say to my clients, you should have a 360-degree campaign. Do not limit yourself to one media house. And especially those who are in business, I think it's very important to include BATV in their portfolio.
Your business matters. Promote it on Business Access TV. Call our sales partner, Yellow, at 936.
Take the guesswork out of improving your IT infrastructure. The field of IT changes so quickly that it can be hard to plan a strategy while keeping up with technological advancements. Yet, without a strategic roadmap built on data-driven insights, your staff can be overworked, spending excessive time putting out technical fires, instead of focusing on strategic tasks that fulfill core business needs. Our IT consulting services are the first step towards transforming your enterprise IT and improving your business efficiency. Our experts have the industry experience and best-in-class tools to methodically assess your entire support operation. We look at your IT support services holistically, identifying improvement areas that will have the greatest impact on employee productivity, service levels, and customer satisfaction. Need help improving your infrastructure uptime? Contact us to discuss a solution that will provide you greater productivity and efficiency. Email info@dodgen.global. Website https://dodgen.global.
In this one degree, you're able to do many things.
I think the field found me.
I'd rather work with the deceased than work with the living.
Let us open your mind to careers you've never considered.
Miniature model maker.
Game technician.
Animator.
Youth empowerment.
Career moves.
Anywhere money is, that's where I am.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Audley Shaw, the indefatigable Minister of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries and Investment, our Minister. And Dr. Andre Gordon, CFS, Chairman and CEO of TSL. Mr. Frank Scher, who I've just met, who is a Safe Quality Food Institute Senior Representative we have here today. Distinguished guests from far and wide, welcome to Jamaica. We're really glad to have you with us. And I'm really happy to be able to celebrate with you the World Standards Day with Technological Solutions Limited. I'm particularly honored to be invited to be present here today because of JAMPRO's advocacy role in establishing standards for Jamaican products, and also to celebrate TSL's role in creating a real opportunity for Jamaican products to attain market access in the most demanding markets around the world, and they absolutely have been a tower of strength in doing that. I also am here partly because of my admiration for one Dr. Andre Gordon, who I know likes to remain in the background, but has been such a tremendous advocate for quality in Jamaica and for quality standards. Without Dr. Gordon, most Jamaican products would not be in the international market today. He has done some pioneering work on getting ackee into the US market against real stiff odds at a time when ackee was considered to be a poisonous fruit that those strange people in the Caribbean eat. I know he has done tremendous work with that. So TSL really is synonymous with standards. And the fact that they have just forged this partnership with SQFI to be their licensing arm in the Caribbean, I think deserves a huge round of applause and big up to Dr. Gordon. We also welcome the staging of the 2 training sessions that you're going to be present at during this week, because I think it's really critical in terms of the increasing demands of quality standards in the international market, that all our products from the so-called developing world really attain high standards. You know, Jamaica is a producer of high-quality, world-class niche products. When you pick up a bag or a sack or a box of Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee, you know what you're getting. When you open a can of ackee, you know what you're getting. When you sample and sip and hopefully savor and not overdrink from the well of the Jamaica rum, Appleton Estate, and we now have other rival rums on the market, you know that you are getting products of true quality. And I think that's really the embodiment of what we're celebrating here today. Each year, as you know, the members of the International Electrotechnical Commission, the International Organization for Standardization, better known as ISO, and the International Telecommunications Unit celebrate today, the 14th of October, as the day in which we recognize the importance of standards in our lives. Standards are critical. As someone like me who has lived for a long time in the metropolitan markets and who has seen the havoc wrought by E. coli, listeria, salmonella, and other food viruses, foodborne viruses, we really have to be grateful to companies like TSL because they have kept us safe from some of those foodborne diseases. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention in the US estimates that each year 1 in 6 Americans, that's 48 million people, get sick from foodborne diseases, and 3,000 of them die of foodborne diseases. So I think that's just a couple of statistics to show you the importance of standards and how important it is that we all understand and apply those standards. So as a government of Jamaica's investment and export promotion agency, that's what JAMPRO is, and the leading marketing agency of Jamaica's business mandate, JAMPRO really just wants to take this opportunity to support TSL in its endeavors in developing its mandate to ensure that clients in agriculture, agro-processing, food service, hospitality, exporting, manufacturing, and distribution industries meet the demanding consumer requirements in global markets. This is absolutely critical for us to move forward. TSL has been a stalwart partner with JAMPRO in co-hosting a number of workshops on market access requirements and disseminating the understanding of quality and of quality standards that we need if we are going to really take our rightful place on the international market in the field of exports. So TSL, I would say, is a pioneer in making standards matter, and standards absolutely do matter. They're what keeps us safe. So thanks very much for listening, and have a wonderful week learning all you can about standards from Mr. Schurz.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this our cocktail reception in honor of World Standards Day and this pioneering workshop, which marks the second collaboration on a workshop that we have had with the SQF Institute. Minister, thank you so much for agreeing to be with us. Other members of the head table, Diane, thank you for your very kind words. Frank, you were brief and to the point, really appreciate it. And the Master of Ceremonies wants to make sure we can hear what the minister has to say quickly, so I won't detain you too much further. I do want to recognize some important partners that are here with us and whose presence we appreciate. I've seen Ms. Sharon May Shirley, the head of JANAC, come in. NCBJ is also represented here. Thank you. Dr. Greg Robin, who is the head of CARDI. I don't know why nobody is sitting beside Greg. Why have you sitting by yourself? Who is the head of the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute in Jamaica and also responsible for research across the Caribbean, is here. Last year we partnered quite significantly with CARDI on a coconut project. And partnerships are at the heart of what we do. So it's really warming for my heart to see so many persons from the standards sector here. We regard TSL as a family. We do have a family approach, and we want our clients as well and the persons who are attending to get that feeling. You know, it has been a great coup for us to have Mr. Schurz, or Frank as I call him, who is not just a presenter. Frank is one of the top people in SQF. He's one of the drivers of the standard. For a Canadian, he's extremely modest. I don't know how that works because I don't know too many modest Canadians.
You never see me in a corner.
But he's extremely modest. He was involved in the issue number 8.1, and is already working on issue 9 for the SQF standard that is going to be coming out. So we are really pleased to have this partnership with SQF International, both on training and as their first certification body in this part of the Americas. 2 months ago, we were also thrilled to partner with BioMérieux out of France to bring cutting-edge technology to Jamaica in the form of a polymerase chain reaction technology. And you will hear about more of these partnerships as we extend the kind of product and service offerings that we want the entire productive sector in the Caribbean to be able to access. We are committed at TSL to the making standards live for us in driving the productive sector in the Caribbean forward in being competitive in our own markets and in the global markets in which we intend to participate. You know, as part of this, one of the things we've done is document our experience with the agreement of several of our customers, and this represents another partnership. And I just advised President of JAMPRO and Minister will be making a gift to them of our first book, which captures what Diane spoke about, the whole story, the approach in which we partnered with the Bureau of Standards and several other government and private entities to get Ackies back into the US market. On the next book that we have coming out, I'm pleased to say that Rick, Helen, and other team members, Rochelle, where's Rochelle, from TSL, have partnered on the writing of that book, as well as our colleagues from US, from the Food and Drug Administration, from Sweden, and many other countries. Partnerships are the heart of what we do. And over the years, we've worked quite closely with the standards sector as we mark World Standards Day to train persons in the bureaus of standards throughout the region. We were instrumental in helping many of the small bureaus of standards get set up. We worked closely with the Bureau of Standards in Suriname, literally throughout the entire Caribbean. So we see it as an apt and fitting coincidence that this workshop is being opened on World Standards Day, as the president of JAMPRO has mentioned. You know, as some of you may be aware, TSL is in an expansion mode. And later on this year, Minister, you may be interested. Later on this year, you will hear other things. We have other partnerships, but early in the new year, TSL will avail itself of that opportunity that you, as minister, fought so hard to retain, and that is access to the Jamaica Junior Stock Exchange. Minister, that is probably the one of the most significant contributions that they will remember Audley Shaw for as Minister of Finance. Many people do not understand how important it is for companies that have existed for a while to be able to access capital to grow.
Full-service HR solutions. Whether attempting to increase market share, improve profitability, or add staff, every company is trying to grow. Unfortunately, every company also encounters challenges and experiences pain during the growth process. Not surprisingly, many executives don't have the time to address these challenges without shifting their focus away from revenue-generating tasks. That's where we come in. At Dog & Global, we're passionate about helping people like you grow their businesses, take better care of their employees, and enjoy a higher quality of life. And we've been doing just that for more than 17 years. What sets Dog & Global apart from other HR outsourcing firms is our ability to create customized and scalable service offerings that not only meet your organization's current needs, but also can grow as your business grows. Why our model works. We deliver our HR services in one of two ways, either through a professional employer organization arrangement, PEO, or through an administrative services organization, ASO, arrangement. Professional Employer Organization, PEO. Under a professional employer organization arrangement, your company enters a co-employment relationship with Dog & Global. This allows us to act as the employer of record for your business, facilitating shared liability with Dog & Global on employee-related matters. This arrangement also gives us full authority to perform many of the tedious administrative tasks associated with being an employer, payroll administration, benefits reconciliation, etc., on your behalf and process all employee-related taxes under our tax identification number. Administrative Services Organization, ASO. Dog & Global ASO model allows you to pick and choose from our wide array of services to create a custom offering designed to support or supplement your current in-house HR staff or internal processes. This a la carte approach is more like traditional business process outsourcing and vendor-client relationships, and works best for large and established companies that already have an HR infrastructure in place. For additional information, Contact us at email info@doggin.global. Website www.doggin.global.
This week on Home Sweet Home, we go around Jamaica to visit a few of our most historical homes, each with their own little story. Our first stop, let's find out.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Creating change. Building a future. Caring hands. Giving back. Touching hearts and shaping lives. Impacting our world for the better.
The global economy, of course, is standards driven. And we've got to get on that bandwagon. And that's what you have been leading with. Our ascension in the global marketplace must be driven by standards, quality. And standards must become the norm for us and the center of every transaction, local and global. So in this global economy, the acceptance of our goods and services depend on an infrastructure that is built on internationally recognized standards and an accreditation-based conformity assessment system that satisfies international requirements. So I want to take the opportunity to applaud Dr. Gordon and his team on the tremendous work that you have been doing in transforming organizations and companies to deal with the practical realities of competing and exporting in a globalized business environment. I want to commend you also on the pivotal role you have been playing over the years in providing a comprehensive range of technical services to support the productive sector in Jamaica and in the region. The consumer goods industry has been undergoing significant transformation. Changes in consumer behavior, the availability of new technologies, shifts in buying power are all combined reshaping the industry's supply chain. At the same time, manufacturers and retailers are being challenged to redefine the way they operate and collaborate with each other, as well as with their trading partners. This means that standards must be embedded into new process areas to meet consumer and industry expectations. Locally, Jamaica's growth strategy is premised on export-led growth. We were there before, we have to go back there, right? And we've got to get to serious export growth, and a part of that is the export of food, not just fresh, but processed. So it's an opportunity for us to move, you know, it is. So my mother used to tell me that in every crisis and in every adversity, there's a seed of greater benefit. Our adversity has been some of what I described to you before, and then the decline in traditional industries like sugar. But guess what? The seeds of opportunities are there. We are importing soursop puree and mango puree. I make soursop juice and mango juice. And you go in the supermarket and buy it. And we are stressed out with idle hands and idle hands in Jamaica. That makes sense? And then we had to just hold on to the promise of sugarcane and say, Lord, 200 years ago we had it, make we can't have it again. Right? We have to move on. We're not saying we're abandoning sugar, but we are now in the midst of a major rationalization program to plant other things, yes, including mango orchards. And yes, we've started exporting mangoes back to the United States again. In June of this year, we started. In June of this year. After a 20-year break. And let me tell you something, they've never had hands to sell the mangoes in the United States. Julie, East Indian mangoes is what we sent in. And there's so many other things that we can do and we will have to do. And the good news, folks, is that we have no shortage of interest among investors to go the path of agriculture and agro-processing. And so we've heard of Gassanasan recently, over 400 acres to be developed on the Bernard Large estate. And by the way, most of it will remain in agriculture and will be involved in a mother-farm relationship, working with small farmers as well, with guarantees of what they produce, helping them with technology to maximize their production, guaranteeing that when they produce, they will have a sale for it. And the agro-industrial sector and the agro-processing sector is gearing up. Grace Kennedy is building a facility at Denby. They are already at Hounslow in St. Elizabeth. National Meats, the old National Meats, now Lidford Logistics, Richard Lake, is not just selling fresh, but going to process and target the export markets. Jam processors in Williamsfield in Manchester, they export about 6 containers of yellow yams per week right now to the United States and England. They want to start food processing as well. Even traditional importers like Rainforest and CPJ, they want to get into the value-added chain as well. And with all of this, the technology that is afforded with this company will all be relevant in the aggressive build-out of the agro-processing sector.
So I'm here with Minister Audley Shaw, and he's of course the Minister of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries. And it's a pleasure to have you here with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, so Technological Solutions Limited, they are celebrating 23 years this year. What do you make of this achievement, especially in this manufacturing sector, and what they have done for the manufacturing sector?
Well, I think it's really significant what they have done, because we have no hope to penetrate the international markets on a sustainable basis and expand that penetration without stepping up to global levels of technology. And that's what TSL is doing. So they are guiding our companies that, listen, you have to have standards down here, and you have to have those standards at international levels. And so I really want to congratulate them on this pursuit of such an important area, because technology is one of the drivers of global wealth creation and mass production. So I'm very happy for the company, and my hope is that they'll grow from strength to strength, not just in Jamaica, but for the entire Caribbean region.
And we see a number of companies over the years that have struggled to, get their products onto the global market. They have helped companies to do that. What advice would you give to companies who want to venture into this arena in terms of the standards that they require?
My advice to the companies is, once you're targeting the export markets, don't even think about it. You put a plan in your business plan. You must have a segment to engage a company like Dr. Gordon's company, so that you are putting up in place a platform that guarantees success in international market penetration. And then accompanying the technology solutions that he provides is you now have the opportunity through the Junior Stock Exchange to raise money at reasonable interest rates and on an equity basis. And in some cases, it's not just the stock exchange, but we now have banks that are lending money at 5 and 6% interest rates, single digits. And so get formal, get transparent, access low-cost money, and importantly, access technology for market penetration.
Awesome. My last question to you, Minister Shaw. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, persons want to excel on the global stage in terms of their businesses, in terms of manufacturing. But at the end of the day, we just mentioned in terms of the obstacles that companies face and how companies like TSL help them to overcome it. But how, what last advice would you give to companies who are struggling to just make it, in Jamaica?
My advice to them would be, don't suffer in silence. As Minister of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, the merging of these ministries of industry and agriculture, which was the brainchild of our Prime Minister, right? It's still a work in progress. But what I want to say to entrepreneurs who want to excel in their business enterprises, whether on the local or the international market, if you're bucking up with bureaucratic humbug and obstacles, find a straight path to my office, right? And we're gonna get rid of the bureaucracy, because we have got to make it easier to do business in Jamaica and easier to penetrate the markets of the world.
Creating change. Building a future. Caring hands. Giving back. Touching hearts and shaping lives. Impacting our world for the better.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this: no more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.
I'm now joined by Dr. Andre Garden, CEO, Technological Solutions Limited. He's the man in charge. Good to have you.
Thank you so much for having us and for having BATV here.
And congratulations on all your achievement. I understand it's 23 years. Tell us about that journey.
23 years has been an interesting journey. TSL was set up to help drive the competitiveness of the productive sector in Jamaica and the Caribbean. So that's the heart of what we do. We say we are science-driven, customer-focused, and excellence-driven. So basically what we do is, whether it's manufacturing, exports, agriculture, food service, hospitality, or importing and distribution, we help them apply science, knowledge, and technology to make their businesses competitive. We demystify science and translate it into practical, implementable programs and training, and develop products for all of these sectors and help them get their products into the markets that they want to get them into.
Awesome. We heard throughout the presentation, you being lauded, your company being lauded for bringing back Aki into the United States. What sort of cutting-edge technology does TSL have?
Well, we have over the years prided ourselves on having colleagues around the world who are regarded as experts in their area. We ourselves have some people who are regarded as experts in our area. So what we try to do is we've used electron microscopy, predictive modeling, thermal processing. We do accelerated shelf life. We help companies verify or prove that their existing traditional processes meet the requirements of importing markets. Most recently, we brought what is called polymerase chain reaction, PCR, DNA-based technology in to reduce the analytical time for tests that are done down from like 10 days to 1 day. And so we are rolling out this technology that we will use to service a range of different sectors of the industry so that we will be able to provide companies here with the same kind of analytical service that they would get if they were in New York or Canada or anywhere. So those are just some of the technologies, but most of our technology is knowledge-based. What we try to do is understand their requirements, understand the requirements of the specific market they're going in, and work out a program as to how do we help them get in that market with products that they can get a premium price for. And that's what we work at doing in Jamaica and throughout the entire Caribbean.
Awesome. In addition to today's cocktail reception for in observance of World Standards Day, I understand that there is a training as well.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that training which is happening.
Okay, so we, amongst many of the things we do, we pioneered the concept of food safety and quality systems in the Caribbean, working with another partner, Caribbean Export, in 1997. And then after that, we applied that to getting Ackes back into the US market, getting Jamaica's conch back into the EU market, and a range of other things. This latest partnership is with the Safe Quality Foods Institute that's based in the US. It's owned by the Food Marketing Institute. And what they do is they have a standard that guarantees that once people get certified to that standard, all of the food, agricultural produce, distribution systems will comply with the highest levels of quality and safety. So this particular training program is having persons who wish to be able to implement and audit to that standard become trained and certified so that our certification body, TSL, Certification Services International, will be able to have auditors of the highest level of competence, in addition to the ones that we also have that come from overseas. We want auditors from the region who understand our culture so they can interpret the international standards in a culturally sensitive context and help our companies comply.
Awesome. Wonderful work. My last question for you. I understand recently you received one of the Jamaica Manufacturer Exporters Association awards. Yes. What was that award for? Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. We actually received 2 awards.
Okay.
We received an award as the champion exporter because amongst many other things, we've been growing our export. TSL is a service exporter. We have been exporting our services for over 20 years. We started in 96 and we started exporting in 97, our services. So we are one of the largest service exporters in our category. So we won the Service Exporter Award. More importantly, we won the Best Support Service Award, which is named after Pauline Gray, who is one of our founding directors, the former executive director of the Jamaica Exporters Association. And that award says that we are the best support service provider to the manufacturing and export sector for 2018. And it's an award we've won before, but this time was special because this award was named after one of our directors. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Gordon. Congratulations and all the best.
Thank you very much. And I'm really happy that BATV, that we've had BATV come for this. I watch BATV. Excellent, excellent programming and channel.
I'm now joined by Charles Barrett, Regional Marketing Manager for Jamaican Teas. Good to have you here with us at Business Access TV.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so tell us about how Technological Solutions Limited has helped your company.
Well, Technological Solutions has been a very important partner for us at Jamaican Teas. As you know, we produce Caribbean Dreams branded tea bags and Tetley teas for the entire region and indeed North America, the United Kingdom, and of course the entire Caribbean. And in order for us to do that, we have to uphold a number of standards. Technological Solutions has been an important partner in helping us to become HACCP certified, which is Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points, which is a food safety-based system. And also they are working with us in also getting into safe quality food certification. Without them, 26% of our export revenues, which is represented by the US market, would not exist, because you cannot export to the US as it is today without some kind of third-party certification in food safety. And technological solution has helped us to maintain that market and in terms of our access to it. Without that, then that would be a big blow for us as a country, as a company. And as you know, they say export or die. At Jamaican Teas, that's what we live by, because we're a net export company. Over 50% of our revenues is exports. So we generally have to do what we're doing by global standards, have these third-party certifications, and even the testing that goes along to verify and to guarantee that the processes that we have in-house actually work. Then technological solutions play an important role. So we are very happy to be here and support them today. We're also part of the training that's going on for SQF, and we just want to say congratulations to SQF and the team. They're doing a very fantastic job.
Okay, great. My final question to you, having, you just listed the benefits of how technological solutions and having the requisite standards that helped your company. How critical, what's your advice that you would give to other budding, entrepreneurs or other companies out there that, they need to have the requisite standards and qualification, especially in the food safety sector?
Well, the fact is, we're not, we're an island, but we can't stand alone. And for us to survive as a country, the minister said it, we have to look outward and to go back to the days when export was a big part of Jamaica's economy. For us to be able to be successful and competitive at that, and for industries and organizations to grow, then there must be standards. In whatever industry you're in, there must be standards. And so for young entrepreneurs or other entrepreneurs, even those in the packaging industry, I find that's something that we don't pay much attention to. But more and more, those companies in Jamaica that provide packaging that goes close to the food and so forth, they think of themselves as not being a part of this whole chain of standards, particularly when it comes to guaranteeing safe food. They too have to see the importance. Anything you're doing, there are standards. And not because we at home and at yard say, as so it go, no. We all operate in this global village. And whatever good here so or good over there, it must be one thing, and we must all work together at it. And that is why standards are important. It's not about run on your own, but seek the partnership where you can get it.
So tell us about your partnership with TSL.
Okay, we have partnered with them over a 2-year period. And what they have helped us to do is grown exponentially in producing safe quality food to meet the export market. Since then, we have been audited by FDA and we have not violated any regulation. Yes, our staff have been mentored from ground up, from top down, and right across the board. So we have partnered with them and we're looking forward now in becoming HACCP certified, which is another main, that is our core objective with technological solution. Because when we're HACCP certified, it means big things for Virginia Dairy. We can now export our product straight to the US and we know that the quality is of such, is of high standard. And persons buying from our company, meaning all the other lucrative business and big businesses buying from Virginia Dairy, meaning that they can rest assured that the quality is of a high standard. So in this month, we'll be doing our preliminary exercise with the TSL, and going forward, we're getting by November of this year, we should and shall be and will be become HACCP certified. Virginia Dairy Jamaica Limited is known in the business world as a flavor industry, and we have brought on our flagship product in recent, where we do fragrances that deals with take care of persons who work in the fabric softener, dishwashing liquid, car fragrances, etc. And then we have our cordials, which is one of our baby, and we pride that. Why we pride that is because the sorrel that is now in Jamaica is a booming thing, and Virginia Dairy was there from the start, where we basically harvest the sorrel from our farmers and sell it back to the big companies, and they bring it to another consumable portion. And we are pride ourselves in that area. And now to know that we can now just sell this product from just Jamaica to anywhere in the island, anywhere in the Caribbean, anywhere in the world, because we're HACCP certified. We can't wait for that day.
Amazing.
We're so happy, and we're so happy to be partnered with Dr. Gordon to support them on this monumental achievement for them.
Congratulations, a passionate Nicole Gracimondo, Operations Manager for Virginia Dare Jamaica Limited. Thanks for tuning into Business Access TV's coverage of the cocktail reception of Technological Solutions Limited, as well as the opening of their SQF training. I'm Tamara McHale for Business Access TV, serious about business.
Taking the pain out of the audit preparation. Doggin Global now offers audit management services, AMS. With AMS, Doggin Global team manages your external audit process by providing the following. 1. Prepare and review schedules for your external auditors. 2. Prepare responses to your external audit team queries. 3. Assign our team members to locate supporting documents during field work. 4. Draft financial statements in accordance with IFRS to supply to your external auditors. 5. Provide guidance to your internal accounting staff regarding classification and recording of transactions. 6. Review your general ledger for accuracy. 7. Prepare necessary journal entries. 8. Prepare fixed asset register. 9. Prepare accounting and operational manual for effective internal control. 10. Liaise with the company external auditors. We work with your team to achieve timely and effective external audits, resulting in timely completion of your audited financial statement, while your current staff focuses on their daily activities. Contact us, info@doggin.global, website doggin.global.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Have grown from 20 million US to now having 800 million US dollars.
Knowledge, skill, and professionalism. Those are my tools and my armor.
It's a big men don't cry, right? It's a big men don't cry, right?
We were being robbed some $531,000.
I've been angry to the point where I feel like I will kill people.
Hi, it's Novia MacDonald White, Senior Associate Editor at the Jamaica Observer. And guess what? You are watching Business Access Television.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Since the dawn of human existence, men have entered the water to collect food, so it's impossible to trace the exact date or origin of diving. We do know from artifacts that the people of Mesopotamia engaged in diving as a form of commerce, usually collecting pearl oysters as long as 4,500 years ago. For centuries, inventors worked on various equipment and techniques of breathing underwater, mainly for food and warfare. But it wasn't until the 1940s that the world-famous Jacques Cousteau and engineer Émile Gagnon were successful in creating a rebreathing device that actually worked. In 1966, John Cronin and Ralph Erickson both felt there needed to be a professional organization that made it easy for anybody to become a skilled and confident diver. They teamed up to create the Professional Association of Diving Instructors, or PADI, as most people know it. Since then, PADI has issued millions of scuba certifications worldwide, and this week it is the career to learn so much more about on Career Moves.
I am Sharon Robinson, and I am a PADI open water scuba instructor. A PADI open water scuba instructor is a diver who would have gone through a series of training and development programs that would have gotten them to the point of being able to instruct new divers. I grew up in Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland, which is really close to Negril, about 20 minutes outside of Negril. My mother is from Negril, and most of my immediate and extended family. So as a young boy growing up in that area, going to the beach regularly, just always had a knack for the sea. Been cliff diving and swimming since I was probably 3 or 4 years old.
So how did this innocent hobby translate into a career? Sharon traces his steps from the days of high school, highlighting how plans do change.
I went to the Manning School. Yes. I actually studied the technical group areas. So it had absolutely nothing to do with aquatics or scuba or water sports. I then went to the Montego Bay Community College to study architectural technology as well. But it was through working through the holidays back home in Negril, I got my first job at the Marinas Negril Beach Club. I was actually working in entertainment there at the time, but was exposed to everything. And of course, naturally, I gravitated toward the sea. There was a small dive center there called the Negril Scuba Center, which was owned and operated by the general manager of the hotel at the time. And then my interest from there just grew from doing snorkeling and free diving, and then eventually got me into scuba. Now, I would have these groups that would do orientations, and we would do walkarounds of the hotel for them to be abreast of everything that was available to them. I read a lot, so I grabbed every fact sheet available and just bombarded them with all this information. At the end of these groups, I'd have quite a few persons along with me asking me, where can I get signed up for this, that, or the other? And so I would take the respective groups to the manager or a personnel of the department that they had the interest. And so I had groups of persons wanting to either sign up to dive if they were already certified, or sign up to get certified if they weren't already so. And one day the water sports manager there grabbed me and just asked me if I was a diver, and I told him no. He asked me how I knew so much about it. I said I read it. He said, well, you have the theory down, might as well get the practical in. And I tried what they call the Discover Scuba Diving program back in 2006 and just never looked back from there. Every day I wake up, if the weather is good, it's a great day because I get to go diving. When the weather is poor, then I'm angry because, there's no diving.
Let's say on a particular day the weather is perfect. What would the duties of a diver entail?
Day in the life of a dive instructor. I get to work, I ensure that everything is intact. You have to deal with all the logistics, all the equipment, and then you have the people factor. So getting in, we're going to check the boats, ensure that they're ready, they have gas. Check the equipment, that they are clean, that they're all working. And then you're looking at your dive roster and you have to go through all the paperwork. If I have student divers who need to come in, then I review their paperwork with them, correct any errors, and go through any questions that they may have in regard to said paperwork. From there, we're looking at doing the videos, going through the knowledge reviews that follow, and then going into the pool for confined water training. Once they've successfully completed that, then we matriculate into the ocean. You can experience diving in a day, but getting certified at a minimum would be 2 days, and it depends on the level of certification. Afterward, we have to deal with all the little things that make my work work. So cleaning and stowing equipment, refueling boats, filling air cylinders, little things like that.
Nowadays, diving in Jamaica is mainly resort-based. Despite that, Sharon says it's still a viable career option, and once you get qualified, there are many areas to find work.
Gone are the days when widespread it would have been a dive operator acting as a supplier to a hotel. Now hotels provide their own. Getting into diving as a career here, you would need to be at least a dive master, which is the first professional member rating of a diver. And in order to get there, then there's a series of other certifications that you must have completed. As an instructor, which is the level up from a dive master, you have the opportunity of then training people to become divers. Mainly resort-based, but also this opens a whole new gateway to you. You can work in commercial diving, which could see you doing underwater construction as it relates to welding. You could also work as a rescue diver and not necessarily in Jamaica. I don't see that happening here, but with the fire department, there is a dive team that does rescue, search, rescue, and recovery. You have a lot of areas where there are expats, like in the Caymans. Like Jamaica, there are not a lot of locals in Cayman that get involved in the dive industry. And so there are always these openings for expats to come and work. You can also work in the cruise line industry where they have what they call destination diving. So an instructor and dive master can work aboard the ship, and as you go to your different stops, then you are able to dive in these different areas as well. And if you are looking to get into diving professionally, then there are many companies that offer internships that prepare you to become a dive professional. There is no amateur diver. You are either a diver or you're not a diver.
We are serious about the business of real estate, so catch Home Sweet Home Sundays at 4:30 p.m. or if you missed it, check our website at batvja.com.
Sharon Robinson is not only a diver, but plays a role as a certified dive instructor, which allows him to teach at the resort where he's employed. He tells us how to get started.
With PADI, there are 2 entry-level diver certifications. The first is open water, which is basic scuba skills for you to dive independently. However, if you don't want to dive independently, or if you are restricted by time to get the certification done, or cost of the course to complete it if you're working on a budget, then there is a lesser course called the Scuba Diver Certification, which allows you to have a certificate or a license to dive, however, always under supervision of a professional as opposed to open water, which allows you to dive independently. Receiving a guest, one of the first things I'm looking for is the telltale signs of how much I have to work with this individual, how difficult or how easy it will be to complete this course with them, and then matriculate through the steps. The only thing you need is to be able to swim 200 yards. You have to do a float or tread of 10 minutes, and you have to be comfortable in water. Some of the most difficult things that prohibit divers would be claustrophobia, having the mask over eyes and nose. They may feel a little bit restricted and not comfortable. Costs vary based on the individual dive center or resort, based on their costs for their material and instruction versus their operational costs.
There is no set age to start learning how to dive. However, there is specific information the instructor must know before progressing.
Getting certified, first things first, is covering the paperwork. The PADI medical questionnaire must be completed. You should be able to respond no to all the questions that are there. If you have any positive response, then you must get your physician's approval before any in-water training begins. Once everything is fine with the paperwork, we have paid for our course, then we start with the classroom session, doing the video, going through the knowledge reviews with the instructor, and then going to the pool. The dives are broken down. There are 5 pool dives that you would do and 4 open water dives for the open water course. For scuba diver, then it would be 3 pool sessions and the 2 open water dives. Comfortably to complete the open water course, you can do that in 4 days. At a minimum, I would want to complete the open water diver course in 3 days. It is student-based, so it is all about your progression because it is about skill mastery. So there is no set time frame for you to complete it. There are different options for you to complete the course. You can do independent study with theory online, or you can have the material that you're going through the coursework with. And then you would come to the instructor who will go through the knowledge reviews with you, complete the examinations, and of course, the training.
Now that you know about certification, let's go through the stages of a recreational diver towards becoming a professional at the highest rank.
There is no amateur diver. You are either a diver or you're not a diver. I've had divers come before and say, "Oh, I'm only open water certified." I said, then congratulations, you are an open water diver. Now, progressing from open water, which is the first level of scuba diving certification with PADI, you move to doing an adventure diver or an advanced open water diver course. The adventure diver is a lesser part of the advanced open water diver course, similar to how the scuba diver is a lesser certification to the open water course. The advanced open water diver would have completed 5 adventure dives. Adventure dives include doing deep dives, navigation. These are the 2 mandatory dives. You have wreck diver, night diver, drift diver, boat diver, and an array of others that you could do. depending, of course, on your geographical location. Here in Jamaica, we would not do ice diver, for example. For adventure diver, you would only need to complete 3 of these. Moving from advanced open water diver, your very next step would be going to the rescue diver course. The rescue diver course for me was the most tedious and most rewarding prior to me becoming an instructor. I really enjoyed the rescue diver course. It's a bit more hands-on, helps you to identify problems that may occur and manage and prevent them. And it also makes you a bit more confident as a diver, where you can be called upon to assist in the event that something should go amiss. So moving on from rescue diver, it goes in conjunction with doing the emergency first response course. This also is something I probably should have mentioned in regards to what you could do as viable career fields from becoming a dive professional. The emergency first response EFR course is done in conjunction with the rescue diver course, and then immediately from there you would go to doing a dive master course, or its lesser course, which is a master scuba diver. So PADI gives you options in everything. Again, to start from the beginning, you can do either the scuba diver or the open water diver course. Then you can go to adventure diver or the advanced open water diver course. The rescue diver and EFR are in conjunction. There is no lesser or between of that course. Then from rescue diver, you can become a master scuba diver, or you can go ahead and do the dive master course. Now, the master scuba diver is the highest non-professional rating one can attain as far as PADI is concerned. And the dive master is the first professional member rating that you receive through PADI. A dive master would then move on to become an open water scuba instructor, or they may do the assistant instructor course. From open water scuba instructor, then you can become a master scuba diver trainer, where you are an instructor in at least 5 specialty areas of diving. And then from master scuba diver trainer, you move up to becoming an IDC staff instructor. From IDC staff instructor, then you would move to becoming a master instructor, and from master instructor to course director. Most professions persons are expected at 65 to retire. There is no such thing for diving. It depends on the individual, how well you maintain your own physical health, how good your mental faculties are, and just how much you can keep abreast of everything happening in the industry.
Internal audit. Internal audit service is vital when organizations aim to achieve reliable financial reports and regulatory compliance, navigating risks, streamlining operations, and promoting stakeholder confidence. The benefits of a high-quality internal audit are limitless, especially when you secure yours from a firm with deep industry experience, exposure to hundreds of organizations, dedicated professionals, and proven methodologies. Whether you're looking to establish an internal audit function, attain or maintain compliance with various regulations, mitigate your risk of fraud, or gain an overall assessment of your internal controls, you can count on Dodge & Global for reliable and timely business solutions. We've helped organizations nationwide and across industries to establish internal control structures, create an internal audit function, or improve an existing one, and maintain regulatory compliance. We provide ongoing education as regulations and public perceptions change. We are trusted advisors for management and boards. External auditors can be confident in our work and its results. Let Dodge & Global be a turnkey solution for your organization. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email info@dodgen.global. Website https://dodgen.global.
Working by the sea has its unique challenges, risks, and misconceptions. Let's hear what kinds divers encounter.
Saltwater corrodes practically everything, so you have to constantly be cleaning. There are other challenges as it relates to logistics in terms of having everything in place, having your oxygen unit filled and getting it cleaned and having it prepared always, checking and rechecking, and also working with different personalities as well is very challenging. A lot of times you're having to work with just what's available because there are not that very many people in this profession in Jamaica. Your boat captains, for example, dealing with the logistics and dealing with the wind, and again the people factor. A diver may come and have all this experience and feel like they know everything, but then they have not gone diving in your environment. And though you know better, they will always try to override you by saying, yes, I'm a rescue diver, which would have been impressive if only I had this experience with you. So it's always about starting easy and progressing to the more challenging things where someone might come and want to just dive right in. If you properly inspect and clean and maintain your equipment, then they should not get damaged. Very rarely would they ever. And then there are stipulations as well. There's annual inspections, and then there are times when you have to have an equipment specialist look at all your equipment. Even as far as our air cylinders go, annual inspection visual, and then within every 5 years it must be hydrostatically tested by the professionals. So everything must be up to par. Scuba diving has risks, but you manage these risks by following simple safety procedures and rules associated with diving. And that is why you have instructors trained through the IDC with a course director to manage these risks and to anticipate them. Scuba diving is very fun and very safe once you follow these simple rules and procedures. Never hold your breath. No horseplay. Listen to your instructor. Monitor your air. Little things. I have faced a situation before where I had a student diver who could not physically take a breath underwater. The minute their head went underwater, their brain tells them this cannot work, and they would not take a breath for anything. It's definitely on an individual basis. You will have a student diver who comes, gets immersed, gets everything right, one shot, flawless. And then you'll have another that you'll have to pretty much babysit the whole way through. You have to hold their hands, you have to look into their eyes, you have to motivate them every step of the way. Diving is definitely not for someone who does not enjoy the water. You may be out at sea for hours at a time, you might be in water doing training for hours at a time, day after day. You have to really love it. You cannot have a fear of aquatic life, and you also can't have these misconceptions about being eaten by sharks. Some of the things I hear are crazy. Your hair is going to turn red. Your hair is going to rot from the salt water. Sharks are going to eat you. Stingrays are going to barb you in the heart. You know, all these little things, you know, that people see. Oh, you'll get the bends. And a lot of times too, they're not very far-fetched. But again, it comes down to your attitude toward diving. Whether you're going to take the training and develop yourself and your skills as a diver and do it properly. Follow the simple safety rules and procedures, and diving is all fun. For the most part, the marine life does not care for you. If you don't motion toward them, they generally will ignore a diver. Outside of that, the physical breakdown, because it does take its toll on you. You have to get proper rest, You have to eat right, you have to exercise. Diving is not just an activity, it is a lifestyle. And you'll find that persons who dive tend to stick around persons who dive as well.
As it relates to compensation, Sharon says he cannot speak to divers in other fields, but here's that of most who work in the hotel industry.
We do get paid above the average staff member at a hotel. Our salary is fair. And then you also earn a commission based on the divers you take and also the students that you teach. So there's a salary base and there's a commission base. And if you are in such a hotel where tipping is allowed, then you can also make tips. And this is where your personality comes into play as to how much you can earn and take home. Because people tend to tip based on the service they receive. So if you've gone above and beyond and have been far exceptional, then you can expect to be rewarded handsomely. If you're just so-so, you follow everything to the T, but you're not as engaging and as interactive with the people, then they may compensate you, yes, but not as much as they would have if you had just taken it a little step further. A diver can make between 650,000 to $1.3 million annually, plus commissions and gratuities, etc. Incentives are individual and from the hotel standpoint. So yes, you can receive day passes, you can receive day and evening passes, for example, or they incentivize things based on a TripAdvisor comment that makes the hotel look good. Then you can get weekends and little things like that. But again, it all comes down to what you put into it, that you receive out of it. There is no true formal education that takes you to diving. Anyone from any field can get into diving. I've seen people who have worked for years in other careers and then looked at diving as their retirement plan. So someone can start from the ground and say, I am young and I want to have a long career in diving, or someone might have been doing a different career altogether, might have been diving recreationally, or might just have had the interest in diving and then decided, I want to make the transition from an accountant or a journalist or a fireman, and then move over to doing diving as their retirement job. Most professions, persons are expected at 65 to retire. There is no such thing for diving. It depends on the individual, how well you maintain your own physical health, how good your mental faculties are, and just how much you can keep abreast of everything happening in the industry. Because I've known divers who've gotten out of it at age 35, and I know people who are over 80 and still diving.
Many believe that the dive industry is unpopular in Jamaica. However, Sharon speaks of his optimism for what the future holds in the career.
I don't have that view at all. It again comes down to individuals. Yes, exposure is good, and I think that it's picking up traction now, and more people are becoming aware of scuba diving, and it's due to programs like Career Moves that expose these lesser known career fields to the Jamaican public. But now I think it's picking up traction with individuals like myself who are younger and more forward thinking, and with the advent of the internet, with the YouTubes and the Facebook, which people can now share information more readily. We don't have very dangerous animals. We don't get the great whites. We don't get big makos and these very aggressive sharks that we have to worry about. So it's always fun having these interactions with people who see the Facebook posts and start asking questions. And I've even had quite a few of my own friends come and then try diving with me, which probably would not have been something they would have done usually. So I think that's changing, and we must remember too that Jamaica is a fairly young country at 54. PADI as an organization is 50 years old, and diving was well before. When you look back to the times of a Jacques Cousteau, who is one of the leading pioneers of scuba diving, they're French and Italian. And these countries are far well established, well before Jamaica became an independent nation. So a lot of things that are happening, it just takes time.
My name is Levon Flynn, and you're watching Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Every parent wants healthy children and nutritious meals, and yet a lot find it hard to succeed in helping their kids to develop good eating habits from early. This week on The Good Life, we talk to health coach Rachel Christian, who uses her expertise in health coaching to help her kids make better decisions. Take a look.
I'm Rachel Christian. I'm a health coach, and basically what a health coach is somebody who guides a person along their journey towards better health, helping them to make the correct choices and develop sustainable habits which will keep them along their healthy lifestyle path. I was facing some issues myself, and I attributed them all to weight loss and not being able to sustain weight loss for any period of time. And so I started with that goal in mind. And then while I was on my journey, I realized that all of my efforts would be counterproductive goal-wise if I didn't get my other foods, my primary foods in check. When we think about health, we often think of just, food and exercise. So there are two foods that which we nourish ourselves with. There's our secondary food, which everybody knows about. It's our nutrition, what we put in our mouth. But we also have a set of primary foods, which are very critical to optimizing health, but they're often overlooked. And our primary foods are our spirituality. If you don't have a core or a center from which you are able to deal with the many things that come at you on a regular basis throughout the day, then that can create stress, which can also lead to an unhealthy life. There's your career, how you're spending your day, 8 hours of your day. If you're spending that in a toxic space or a toxic energy, then that can be debilitating. And then there's also relationships, the kind of relationships you have with yourself and the relationships you have with other people, you know. What are you telling yourself about yourself? That can also lead to unhealthy life. And so once I started to focus on those things and keep them in check, it became much easier for me to control how I exercise and also to control how I eat. I lost the weight and I became healthy. But then in that I realized health is about so much more than weight loss, you know, it's about the life that you gain. And once I was eating better foods and exercising and paying attention to my primary foods, my life just opened up in so many different ways. I was able to achieve so many more of the goals that I set for myself. My whole outlook, my whole passion, my energy, my drive, my clarity, all of those things just improved. It's something that I don't think people realize is possible, and even if they know it's possible, they don't think it's achievable, and I just want to help them realize that it's so achievable and so possible. As I was reading an article the other day about the obesity and overweight rate in Jamaica right now. The Ministry of Health just released a study which shows that obesity and overweight has doubled in about the past 7 years, which is kind of scary because that opens children up to type 2 diabetes and other non-communicable diseases at an early age. We have to remember that our secondary foods, food that we eat is absorbed at a very cellular level when we take it in. And so it shapes our organs, our cells. It also impacts the way that the chemicals and hormones interact in our brain. And so it affects our mood, the way we act, the way we behave, the way we think. Nutrition for children is extremely important because I spoke to the fact that type 2 diabetes is real, overweight, obesity, and non-communicable diseases. But also in terms of their passion and their clarity and their drive and their goal achievement. It's very, very important. We can do small things to influence their behavior from a young age so that when they get big like me, they don't have to struggle, for so long, or it don't have to be such a hard fight to get their health on track the way I struggled before to get mine on track. If they introduce small habits from a young age, then when they grow up, they'll hold on to these habits and it will become easier for them to, make health a priority. We are influencers of our children's behavior. We determine how they behave, we determine how they diet, how they see food. It's very unfortunate that sweet, sugary, processed snacks are the cheaper way to go. They're the cheaper alternative. But you can do little things, like you can shop instead of buying your food produce at the supermarket, go to the market, go to a farmer's market and buy it. It works out to be cheaper. There are also small things you can do. We say start as early as infancy with breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is very, very important. One of the things that's interesting to point out is that formulas, when you're feeding a baby out of a bottle, they don't usually stop when they're full. They stop when you finish feeding them the bottle, when the bottle is finished. And so breastfeeding gives the child a chance to stop. So they're able to control then their intake, and that's something that follows them through life as they get older. I don't give my children rice every day. I give them ground provisions most of the time. I swap out white rice for brown rice where I can. I always ensure that they have a piece of fruit with their breakfast. I don't at all let soda into my house. Soda is not allowed into my house. They have it from time to time when they're on the road, rarely, but it's not allowed in my house. My children drink water, and if they're going to drink juice, then they drink freshly squeezed juice. Because when you look at these packaged juice and the soda, 20-ounce can of soda has 16 teaspoons of sugar, and that's per serving. If they get sugary drinks, I mix it, I dilute it with water to kind of cut down their sugar intake. I tend to stay away from sweet fruits for my kids. I give them, but I give them in moderation, and I give them more of the fruits that don't have in so much sugar, like watermelon, cantaloupe. I give them a lot of berries. I give them Ethiote apple is another favorite of mine. So not so much the grape and the pineapple. You have to be careful with the servings of those because they have a lot of sugar, and although it's good sugar, it still metabolizes our sugar. So I also introduced a thing in my house, meatless Mondays. They have Taco Tuesdays too. For one day out of the week, we don't cook meat. I recently moved it to 3 days now, so we have 3 meatless days. But I give them, they have chickpeas instead. They have beans, a bean salad. They didn't draw to these things. Remember that these things didn't come to them naturally, right? Especially my older two who came in to my lifestyle a little later than my youngest one. So it took coaching, I had to sit at the table with them, they had to see me eating it. But that coaching didn't last a long time. I mean, they get used to it sooner than you think. And in our head, we tend to think it's like so much work and it's going to take so much out of me. Believe me, it doesn't. So I come up with these little themes because if you make it fun for them, they'll become more involved. And they get involved. And another way too is that I get them involved in making my green juices. They help me to make my smoothies. They help bake cookies with me. When children feel like they're a part of something, they're more eager to try it after. So that really works for me. I ensure that they are not sitting down in front of the TV 24/7. So that whole sedentary lifestyle with the whole iPad and sitting down in front of the TV, no, not all day. Get up, go outside and play. Sign them up for extracurriculars. Make sure they see you working out and make sure they see you eating healthy. That's a big part of it. We don't realize children at this age are very pliable. We can mold them. It might look like, oh Lord, I'm not going to eat this, I'm not going to eat that. Over a period of time, you keep being consistent in giving them, sitting down with them, let them see you eating it. eating your vegetables, eating your fruits, and they'll come into it. I mean, it's easier, and it's much easier when you start them from a very young age. Like case in point, my children, I have 3 children. And so my journey started roundabout when my last child was a baby. And so he was introduced to green juice, noni tuna, aloe, smoothies at a very young age. So my children now, the bigger ones, they'll have it. But it's more like I have to really encourage it with them. With Jacob, the youngest, it's seamless. I mean, he goes for that.
Stay current and gain more information on the ever-evolving industry of real estate on Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back to The Good Life. We are still here with Rachel Christian, who is giving us some tips to promote healthy eating habits for kids.
There's so many dietary theories out there, and if you follow all of them, you'll really go crazy. I mean, a lot of them have pros, a lot of them have cons. I mean, I don't bother myself too much with that because then it gets overwhelming. And so I consider myself to be an everything on. So some days I'm a vegetarian and I don't eat meat. Some days I'm a vegan, I don't eat dairy products or meat. Or anything with a face. Some days I'm Atkins, where I don't eat any carbs. I just mix everything up. I try not to box myself in because then things will get overwhelming and the chances of me sticking to the journey become less. Well, this is what I say. I mean, the more work you put into something is the better it will become. It sounds like a lot initially to make all these changes, but start with one change at a time. Start with cutting out the soda in the house and the juices. Start with that. Start with keeping them on only water. Over time, it becomes seamless. It becomes seamless. Okay, so now that I've talked to you guys about how you can improve nutrition in your household with your kids, I'm going to show you how I improve nutrition with my kids. All right, guys, so what are we making?
We're making cookies.
Woohoo! Okay, so what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to smash up the bananas for Mommy?
You're going to peel the banana.
Okay.
And you're going to smash it.
You like banana?
Yeah.
So we're using bananas. They're nutritional, and kids like them in the treat because they're sweet. So
if there's any fruit I would actually love to eat, it's bananas.
All right, so now that those are squashed, we're just gonna throw everything else in there. So we have some flax, we have some walnuts, we have raisins, we have oatmeal, we have unsweetened coconut flakes, honey, cinnamon, and baking powder. Always try to use coconut oil instead of vegetable oil.
Can I pour the honey in, Mommy?
Yes.
Tell me when to stop.
Squeeze, squeeze.
Could I help him?
All right, okay, okay, whoa!
A lot of honey.
And then you're going to mix this up. So it's kind of just mixing all the stuff around there. Make sure you get all the bananas at the bottom.
Mommy, keep mixing.
Can you stop licking out my bowl? Hey! Spray our baking sheet. We kind of just get some of the mixture.
Can I try that?
Okay.
No, but we're part of this too. People on TV.
See how involved they are? Make it like a cookie. All right. Awesome, wow. We just put it in the oven for 350 degrees for about 15-20 minutes. Is it good?
Yeah. Good.
You like it? Good. All right, so we're going to be making a parfait, and a parfait is basically fruit with yogurt layered, and this is a good snack for kids. My kids love it, and I'm gonna show you how to make it.
Especially Jacob.
Yeah, especially Jacob. He comes running into the kitchen like, can I have some parfait? Can I have some parfait? I use Greek Oikos yogurt, non-fat plain. I use fruits. I use honey to give it a little sweetening. And I also put chia seeds in there, which is full of fiber and good for digestive health.
What's digestive health?
It makes your belly turn better and makes you absorb all the nutrients in your food better.
Okay.
Okay? All right, so the first thing we do is to get a layer of yogurt in there. I usually make these the night before to give the chia seeds a chance to swell.
Mommy, can I lick off my spoon?
Yes, but you can't put it back into the yogurt.
Okay.
And so then I pour a little of these.
Are we gonna have any more spoon activities?
Yeah, wait, soon.
Okay, I'm not looking. Can't I just wash?
Kind of mix it up in here. Put the fruits in now. You have to stir them up in there.
Thanks for the chia seeds. Okay, that's good.
And now put another layer of fruit. And then you're finished.
Oh, I love papaya so much. I love strawberries. I'm taking all of the strawberries.
This is what it looks like when it's finished. It's really good.
So good.
Hey guys, I'm Candy and welcome to Chill Spot, Jamaica's ultimate leisure show. This season promises to reveal some of the hidden treasures of the lifestyle industry by taking you to the chill spots of some of Jamaica's most brilliant business minds, giving you a glimpse into how they choose to unwind and just pull a vibe. You won't want to miss what happens next. Stay tuned.
Hi, it's Novia MacDonald White, Senior Associate Editor at the Jamaica Observer. And guess what? You are watching Business Access Television.
Welcome back to The Good Life. We are still here with Rachel Christian, who is giving us some tips to promote healthy eating habits for kids. If you are just joining us, you would have missed a very fun cooking show with Rachel and the kids, but we saved some for this segment.
I remember earlier I spoke about meatless Mondays. So one of the meatless Mondays, 3 days a week. So one of the meatless days in my house, one of the favorites is this lasagna. But instead of using meat, I use callaloo, and my kids love it. Right, Leo? You love it. Some kids have allergies and asthma, and dairy isn't good for asthma. And so if that's a problem that your child has, I wouldn't recommend using a lot of cheese in your lasagna. You could probably sprinkle a bit on top, just to give it, a little taste, but don't use the cheese when you're layering. So I'm gonna show you the reaction to it. I'm gonna cut a piece, put it in this plate, and then I'm gonna call Gabby to come and have some. Another Meatless Mondays dish that I do is roti and just curried chickpeas and potatoes. That's a really good one as well. It's kind of falling apart. So I'm just gonna give her a little taste of it. And how I make this is to layer it. I use callaloo, I use tomato sauce, I use tomatoes, I use cheese, and I use lasagna shells. Gabby, you shall taste this. What is this?
This is lasagna with some callaloo and tomato and vegetables.
And cheese. blow. All right, wait, okay. After all this work, I'm having my lasagna. Oh, very good.
I'm Gabrielle Christian and I'm 10 years old. And I think it's important that people eat nutritiously because if you don't eat that nutritiously, then you'll get sick. But if you eat nutritiously, you'll stay healthy and you'll live for a long time. And I'm sure everybody wants to live for a long time. I like to eat chickpeas with curry chicken or roti, and it tastes really good. To me, it tastes good, and I really like it. I help her sometimes, and I help do a lot of things with her, and that also helps her to speed up her process, and it's fun making stuff with her.
First of all, my name is Adam. Second of all, I'm 7 years old. And I think people need to be healthy so they can learn lots of stuff in school and they can grow up just to be so smart and own a big company. I want to be either a chef or a pizza delivery man. I like cake, I like steak, I like dumpling, and I especially like grapes and apples. My favorite vegetable is tomato. I like tomato because it's very sweet. And then whenever you eat spicy stuff, it calms your mouth down. So you don't need water. Kids, eat your vegetables so you could get strong like me and work those muscles.
My name is Jacob and I'm 6. I have a problem eating veggies, but I eat them because they're good for you. Because it's nutritious and it gives you a lot of energy, and I need energy to play and learn. This is advice. Eat your vegetables and you will grow strong like Hulk. Eating healthy is for girls too, not just for boys. My favorite fruit is grapes because they're the fruit what tastes good actually. Bye, I need to get back to my game.
That was easy.
And that's it for The Good Life this week on Nutrition for Kids with health coach Rachel Christian. But before we go, take a look at a recap of some of the tips that Rachel gave.
Great design is not only how things look, but also how well they work. The GLC, more than meets the eye.
Hello, Jamaicans. The new coronavirus, COVID-19, has spread to more than 60 countries, fueling widespread fear and anxiety as many consider the implications for themselves and for public health generally. Here in Jamaica, we understand that anxiety and wish to reassure the public that we are, even now, enhancing our readiness for the very real possibility of the virus coming to our shores even while we make all efforts to prevent it from coming. Up to March 1, there were more than 87,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 reported globally and close to 3,000 deaths. Among those countries impacted are 3 from within the Caribbean, namely the Dominican Republic, St. Bart's, and St. Martin. So far, Jamaica has had no cases of COVID-19. However, we can accept, given the rate of spread, which has been more than 30 new countries impacted in the last week alone, that Jamaica is not immune to COVID-19. We can also accept that it is not beyond our capacity to respond and to do so effectively in the public health interest. Such has been our history in the face of other global disease outbreaks, including H1N1, SARS, and Ebola. Against this background, Jamaica's assault on COVID-19, for which robust and ongoing public support is critical, is happening on 2 fronts. Actions to minimize the risk of exposure among the local population, and actions to enhance the capacity of the public health system to manage patients in the event that we have cases here in Jamaica. On minimizing the exposure, we have, through collaboration with a wide cross-section of stakeholders from the public and private sectors, and through the adoption of a whole-of-government approach, imposed travel restrictions to include 5 countries, among them China, Italy, South Korea, Singapore, and Iran, discourage non-essential travel, patrolling unofficial border crossings, sensitize key personnel at all air and seaports, designated 4 quarantine facilities, and identified and retrofitted isolation facilities in each of the island's public hospitals. On our health system's readiness, we have developed the local capacity to test for the virus thanks to the training provided by the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, assess the readiness of our health facilities to meet the anticipated increase in demand on services, are addressing existing gaps, including with respect of additional supplies and equipment, though at the present time, we have enough protective equipment in the island for our health facilities. We also have adequate stores of respiratory medicine for the next 3 months. In addition, we have trained and continue to train healthcare providers. These efforts are supported by a communications campaign to keep each member of the population updated on the virus and its impacts. Oversight is provided by the multi-sectorial National Disaster Risk Management Council, led by the Most Honorable Prime Minister Andrew Holness, to which the Ministry of Health and Wellness will present a detailed response plan for approval. In the coming week, we will provide an update on the National Mobilization Plan to continue our risk prevention strategy or to treat with the possibility of the virus coming to Jamaica. Still, the success of our efforts depends on the extent to which stakeholders from the private and public sectors, and indeed every individual who calls Jamaica home, understands that they each have a role to play to preserve public health. This week, we will also appoint a national COVID-19 coordinating task force to monitor the implementation plan. We must therefore work together to maintain a high level of vigilance in our surveillance and response measures. It is also now more important than ever that each of us maintain a distance of at least 2 meters from persons who are coughing or sneezing, frequently perform hand hygiene by washing hands thoroughly with soap and water or using a hand sanitizer if hands are not visibly soiled, cover our mouths and noses with a tissue when coughing or sneezing and discarding it, and avoid touching our faces unnecessarily. Yes, COVID-19 is a disease that can cause death, but in the majority of cases, those affected by the virus survive. If we work together as a community, each of us doing our part, from prevention to care management, we can and will overcome this public health threat.